first of all, it's not might, it's not may. Social Security will not ever cover your full retirement cost. It just won't, right? With inflation adjustments, with, things happening with expense ratios, with expenses coming out when you're retiring, especially as you, kind of get to the older stage, Social Security was never meant to cover the full cost. Actually, it was only meant to cover 35% of the cost of retirement, right? So, and everyone always says, well, it has a COLA adjustment. But I mean, that guys, that stuff is a very, very minimal amount when it comes to the small amount or percentage of the COLA happens, especially for the low time frame. So I mean, that's the first thing I want to point out is Social Security will not cover all your expenses. And if you think that it's going to cover a major portion of it, you need to plan, you need to have an income source, right? That's planned other than just that Social Security, because I'm telling you, if you want to live a good retirement, that's what you need.
Well, David, we're running, you made a good point. They talk about COLA adjustments, but if you look at COLA adjustment, it hasn't even been keeping up with inflation. So just by them giving us a COLA adjustment on Social Security is not going to make up for what people are spending, every day right now. And if you think about Social Security, years ago when I got in this business, more and more people, they had pensions and it was maybe a 50-50, a 60-40, 60% of people had a pension plus Social Security, had some investments, and that's how they made up their income in retirement. But as we've seen over the last 2 or 3 decades, more and more people have to fund their own retirement and they have to create their own pension. And I think what happens is people that are thinking about retiring, they don't know what to do. You and I talk about this all the time. They don't know if they can retire, when they should stop working, when they should take Social Security. Social Security is a small fraction. You mentioned it's about 1/3 of their retirement income that's needed for them to live a comfortable retirement. So Our job as professionals is to sit down with people, talk about their retirement, build a plan, look at their Social Security as part of the income, but really maximizing their income, finding ways to reallocate their funds. We talked about that last show, reallocating. It's a good time of year to do that. Let's look at the buy, column buckets of financial goals and figure out where that income is going to come from besides Social Security. Social Security is not the answer.
Maximizing that income. And Steve, I love when you say that. Maximize, and Social Security is not the answer. So if you're out there and you're hearing us now, Social Security is not your answer, okay, to the retirement. And if you need help with this and you need help with either income planning or that just planning Social Security on when to take it and where to take it, give us a call to set up your free consultation, 850-565-1705. Again, 850-565-1705. And we'll go over, pretty much any question that you have and sit down with you and we'll go over your Social Security sheet that you get from SSA.gov. We'll sit down, we'll go over the numbers. We have a big whiteboard in the office that we love to go over and actually do the numbers, show you the facts, show you when to take it, why to take it, really depending on what your goals are, right? You're still working, if a spouse is still working, if you guys want to travel. But, to transition to this, Steve, I think I'm hearing more and more, from my clients, something that, and it's changing now when I meet my clients, which is pretty cool. But I'm hearing so much of, well, I don't mind working in retirement. Right? I kind of want to work. Okay. I don't care, who you are or where you're at. If someone had the option, okay, to work when they want to, all right, that's what retirement is. Retirement's not just not working, okay? If you want to work, it's fine. Retirement is not having to work for the income that's coming in. So, when people are always like, well, I'm kind of scared. I don't mind working. Guys, we're tired.
You and I bring that up all the time. It's not we're not telling people not to live. We're telling people, do you really want to work? Do you really want to have to work? And most of the clients we talk to and callers that call in are like, I'm trying to prepare so I don't have to work and I can enjoy my retirement. I saved all these years. I don't want to be 80 years old and now I'm sick and I can't enjoy my retirement. I want to figure a plan where I can start my retirement and I can live a comfortable retirement. And I think that's where you and I sit down with them. And it has to start with guaranteed income. It absolutely.
It has to start with maximizing income.
Maximizing Social Security is not going to be the answer. It's a big part of it or a portion of it, not even a big part, 65% of the income needs to come from somewhere else.
And even if you're wanting to work, Steve, even if you're wanting to work in retirement, in the probability that something happens to you where you can't work or the mental stability, if that time comes, what are you going to do? Okay. What's your plan? Right. So I sit down with people every day and we go over this plan and they don't really realize, right? It's not so much about now. Okay. Because right now you could be working, making $150,000, covering your expenses plus some to travel. But as soon as you stop that or cut down 2 days a week or cut down a couple weeks a year and you start traveling more, you start spending more, you start doing certain things, right? Traveling to see the grandkids, going up north, going down south, right? Wanting to go overseas to Europe. That costs a lot of money out of 1 year's pocket and your income depletes dramatically. Okay. So now you're spending a little more because you're not at work, right? You're out doing something and you're bringing in less. Okay. So you have to figure out a way. Really, that's what we do. We sit down with you personally, but sit down, understand these things, maximize your income. I can't stress it enough. Maximizing your guaranteed income, like Steve likes to say, guarantee the income stream that comes in so that down the road, you don't have to worry, right, about running out. And running out of money is the second thing. And we're going to get a little bit more into that too. But, you know, everyone's always just scared. Oh, well, am I going to have enough money to live if I'm 100 years old? If you're guaranteeing your lifetime income, Steve, it doesn't stop, right?
Right. And that's the thing. The guaranteed income is so important. And too many people try to play games with income. And I'm telling you, there's ways that you can sit down, you can plan it. David and I talk about this all the time. It's a no cost. You come in, we'll sit down with you. We'll look at your Social Security. If you haven't already started Social Security, maybe you should. Maybe if you're still working, maybe you shouldn't, depending on, what your age is. But call 850-565-1705 and we'll answer the phone and we'll set up an appointment. We'll sit up and the first thing we're going to do is talk to you about, are you in retirement? Are you getting ready to retire? How far away from retirement? What are your goals? What do you want to do? What do you want your retirement to look like? And then we're going to attack the income and the guaranteed income. And we're going to maximize your guaranteed income. Whether you think you need as much, there's a lot of times we talk to people and we show them an income plan and they say, whoa, I don't need that much income. And that really excites me because do you not need that much income? David, I like to use the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years, talking to people about retirement. As soon as somebody retires, or even right before they retire, they're already doing trips and planning things and cutting back from work. And, they don't want to slow down. Retirement should be fun. You should be enjoyable. You shouldn't have to worry about income, and you shouldn't have to worry about the stock market affecting your income.
And retirement should be fun, guys, which means you should not be looking. The first option is to work in your retirement. Maybe this is a life course. Maybe I'm just telling you out there, if you're listening to us and you're about to retire or you're still working and you want to retire, you worked your butts off your entire life. Retirement is not for you to keep working. Okay. Sit down with a professional like us. Again, Steve said, we'll go over the basics. We'll make sure we maximize your income and guarantee that income so that you don't run out and you have portions of that money that can suffice as your income for life, right? That is super important. And if you want that, again, call 850-565-1705. Again, 850-565-1705. We'll sit down and go over with you.